Hello, welcome to today's episode of People with Passion for Pets. My guest on the show today is Ken Ehrman. He is the co-founder of the company that makes the Halo collar, a GPS virtual fence collar that works together with an app to keep your pet safe.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you. Welcome to People with Passion for Pets.
Yes, it's really great to be here.
I'm so excited to talk about your new product. This is the Halo 3. It's a GPS virtual fence collar. And you are the co-founder of the company that makes the Halo collar. You're using like the newest in technology to keep our pets safe. So probably a lot of people out there that have never heard of a GPS virtual fence or don't really understand it. Maybe you'll talk a little bit about how that works.
Well, again, thanks for having me. I mean, really what Halo is about, it's the next generation invisible fence. As a dog owner, I wanted to be able to let my dog out in the backyard and know that they were going to be safe. I've always had the invisible fence. The invisible fence for 30 years has been the gold standard in keeping your dog in your yard. My niece's dog got out of their invisible fence and was run over by a car and killed. It was just such a tragedy. Back in 1991, I ended up starting a company and was tracking things like forklifts, rental cars, and tractor trailers using GPS. And that's what I was doing when this tragedy happened with my niece's dog. And I found out that 10 million dogs were lost every year and 1 million dogs were hit by a car. And basically a light bulb went off. I was like, this is what I do. And you can use GPS instead of a wire in the ground and just draw it on your phone is what I envision. It sets up anywhere instantly. Like I said, it's portable. So you can go anywhere. So you don't have to dig up your lawn.
There are other collars out there where you can't use it unless you use a very large property. It has to be half an acre or more, right? And obviously there's a lot of times where people are saying, well, that doesn't maybe apply to you. Not a lot of people have, acreage, or even when we're camping. The Halo certainly can be used in a much smaller size. Is that correct?
The average size of our fences is 1/4 of an acre. Some smaller, there's some bigger, obviously. So that's our typical customer. So you were right on when you said, most people don't have a half an acre. By the way, even if you have a half an acre, you might only want them in the backyard. So that's 1/4 of an acre. So,
exactly.
It's not that atypical. So that's our typical fence size. It's really, for people who live maybe in an RV, it's really the invisible fence because your dog doesn't know the difference between a wire and a GPS fence. So it's the same.
You were talking about, with the old type put in the ground, invisible fence, that was truly a shock collar. You had to use like electric shock and it was shock. This collar, we use it on Apollo. It's vibration. So there's a tone and there's vibration and, you could use, another correction, but you don't have to. And our dogs have always
static correction, I do want to talk about that for a second because there is a fundamental difference, and a lot of people misuse the word static. So they say static, but it's shocking them and it's training them through pain. That's not what Halo is about. So when I went to Cesar, or I didn't even mention it, but after this tragedy, I was like, I knew I had the technology and the business experience because we were tracking hundreds of thousands of assets for, every Walmart trailer had our technology on it. You name it, United Airlines had it on their tugs at the airports. It was on a lot of very important equipment, but nothing's more important than someone's dog.
Yeah.
So anyway, when we started working on it, it was just something that we were all so motivated by the problem. How can we keep dogs safe? Cesar, when he saw that, he really wanted to jump in. We don't want to shock the dog. We don't want to train through pain. And he goes, listen, you can use the static just to get their attention. Right. So there's a difference between pain and getting their attention. So if you train them, beep means fence, and they forgot or they're distracted, you're just trying to get their attention. So it's not hurting them.
Right.
You couldn't do that with our collar. It doesn't go high enough, and it's not intended to. We can keep our dogs safe without shocking them.
Yeah, and
And
I like, when we do dog training, I always like to explain it to people. It's kind of like a tap on the shoulder. It's like when you talk to somebody, but they're not paying attention, they're looking somewhere else, and you tap them on, hey, I'm talking to you. That's kind of what you're doing. It's like where you're redirecting them. Oh yeah, I'm paying attention now. The other part of it, of course, is too, and like you were saying, if a dog does go through, you are still having the ability now to track them. You know where they are because through the app, not only do you have a fence, but you also have the ability to see where your dog is at, which of course is a huge increase in, being able to make sure that your dog doesn't run away, that you can find them, that you can bring them back home.
yes, by the way, it is the only dog technology that has Wi-Fi. If you're in a remote location where there's no cellular, you can have Wi-Fi. So we have Wi-Fi. Halo 3 will use any cellular network. T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, International. If you go to Mexico, if you go to Canada, and the way Halo works, every time you go into the app, you're going to see the location of your dog in real time. No delay, not every 6 seconds, not every 15 seconds. When you're in the app, every second, you're going to see everything about your dog, and it'll do it on whatever network it can find, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or any cellular carrier.
Yeah, and I really love that. Jim and I, we travel a lot with our fifth wheel, and a lot of times we are in remote areas where, in fact, the last summer we basically had no cell site, but we do now have Starlink, and we love it because we now have Wi-Fi wherever we go. And of course, that is great because yes, this device is still working, so we're not just relying on a cellular service company to connect us. So it's really great. This is not just a fence or, knowing where your dog is at. This is truly a training device. And you alluded to you're working with one of the people involved in your company is Cesar Millan. He's obviously very well known as a dog trainer and behaviorist. There is so much more to this device than it's just a GPS virtual fence. And
Right.
you also have this beautiful, technology through the app that actually helps the new user become familiar with the device, get you started, but also addresses, how do I train my dog to actually use this device? Because you don't just slap this on and it works. You do obviously, you as the person have to learn how to use it. And then the dog also has to understand, what are the boundaries? What is the feedback that I'm getting from the collar? So talk a little bit about that end of it.
Well, by the way, one of the advantages of Halo that I always want to point out is that with Halo, once your dog is trained, they know it. Now, you may want to refresh them every now and again. That's just smart. Yes, it might seem a little daunting. You need to train your dog. But once they're trained, really what the training comes down to, and then there's so many applications of it, is beep means fence and whistle means come back. And those are two things that, first of all, beep means fence, and Visible and Fence has been doing that for 40 years. So dogs have learned that. They can understand. In fact, my dog knew the invisible fence. So when I got Halo, when I first brought her to a new location and threw the ball over the fence, she heard that beep. She stopped instantly. She knew beep means fence. If they don't listen, it's going to continue to, let's call it, escalate as you configure it. Dogs are very smart. So you're going to be able to train them. They're going to learn beep means fence. And that applies, as you, I believe, have with you, to things even indoors. So you can have what's called beacons. There they are. This is a device. It's a little Bluetooth emitter. So if you imagine like your headphones or any other Bluetooth device, you could set the range of it, not exactly, but like, between 5 and 10 feet or up to like even 300 feet, that when your dog comes in range of the beacon, they're going to get that same beeping. So they know, don't go here. So you could put it in the kitchen, on a couch, at the stairway. I had a time where I put a golf mat in the basement so I could swing some golf clubs. And my dog Reese's, who's 11, decided that I put a bathroom in the basement. I don't know why she thought that, but the green
She's like,
grass
yeah, great.
was like, wow, that was really nice of him. So I had to put a beacon at the stairway to get down to the basement. And then she just wouldn't go down there. So I was like, problem solved. But there's been so many examples of things that, if you have two dogs, one dog might eat the other dog's food. You could put one dog's beacon on so that it won't go near the other dog's food. There's so many different ways people have used it to keep them off their furniture, off their grandmother, off another dog. They put it on, or well, someone even put it on their cat's
Good, yeah, good
great
application right there.
necklace.
Yeah.
So there's a
No,
lot of ways people have used the
yeah,
technology.
that's neat.
So it's pretty exciting to hear the stories.
But there is a subscription involved, correct?
Yes, there is. So if you think about it, what I was saying earlier, it's really like an iPhone for your dog. So it has Wi-Fi, it has Bluetooth, it has cellular, it has a speaker, it has vibration, it has a case to keep it secure. So it's really a phone. And with that, you need a cellular plan. So the basic plan that you get is less than $6 a month for unlimited cellular on any carrier network, like we talked about. That's the basic plan. For $10 a month, that gives you all the features beyond the fence. And then gold, that's $30 a month. For that, you get access to live and recorded amazing content from people like Cesar Millan. So we'll have live events on dog training, ask a question from Cesar, all these veterinary experts, world renowned, so you can hear latest and greatest. And so that's kind of the gold service. And, we have a lot of people on every level, and really you pick the one that suits yourself.
You do also, in addition to having a lot of training, a lot of videos that explain how things work, you have a great customer service. And then you also offer this wonderful community for those of us who use the Halo collar. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, we have the dog park. That's, the dog park to me has always been a critical part of Halo. So a place where people can at any time get Zoom customer service, 7 days a week, one-on-one. What can I do to, help you keep your dog safe? So that was critical. We have the Halo Collar support group on Facebook that people use all the time.
If I may ask you, so this is the new Halo 3 collar. So it's uses new technology. Can you talk a little bit about what is new about the Halo 3 versus, let's say, the Halo 2?
Sure. Or even the 2 Plus. So what we did with Halo 3 is really took all of the reasons that our customers were either returning the collar or they were breaking, and why. And what we found, for example, was this power port right here, which is a USB-C. Gunk can get in there. So when I say gunk, especially if it's on a dog, if they go in an ocean, even if you wash it out properly after it gets dirty, then you're not going to have a problem. But if it's on your dog and you're not paying attention and you plug it in, power into that where this gunk is in there, it can cause problems. And we were having many collars fail. So with Halo 3, we have a magnetic charging thing. It seems simple, but 10% of the collars were coming back for that problem. So it was a big problem. We also had customers complaining the GPS was not accurate enough. The interesting thing about the GPS is if you look at your phone's GPS, the blue dot, especially when you're indoors, it could show you way in different locations, very far away. That was a problem we had to solve because people have their dogs indoors and outdoors all the time. So in order to do that, with Halo 3, we have a significantly improved GPS. So the antenna is now powered so that it can basically pick up the signal that's twice as strong. In fact, since we've launched Halo 3, we really haven't had very many complaints at all about GPS. In fact, every time I want to smile, I just look at my app and see where it shows Reese's, and I'm like, There she is, right where you thought. So its
That's
GPS is
great.
improved, but also the cellular. So, people didn't have AT&T at their house and they only had Verizon or they only had T-Mobile. So we really needed to have a way to have more broad coverage. So that's another big advantage of Halo 3. Again, everything that we saw that was problematic in the field, we addressed in Halo 3. And that's 5 years of problems. So it's
Yeah,
all included. But we also did notice, and this is a warning for anyone who watches this video, that not everyone complies with the rules. So because GPS isn't accurate to the foot, you're supposed to keep it 15 feet away from the road and 15 feet away from the house, from any sides of the house. And we did an analysis and we noticed probably about 3% of the customers, even though when you create a fence, we say, don't do this, we're still doing
we're
it. So
doing
we're
it.
going
Yeah.
to reach out to them. We always try to make sure we analyze the data all the time, that every customer is having the best possible experience.
I think that's something that's very important for people to realize. There is, I guess I refer to it as GPS drift. If GPS isn't 100% accurate to, like, if I'm standing here, like you were saying, that there is like that little bit of a fudge zone that you have to be sure that you have, because otherwise your fence might end up in the middle of the road, and now your dog's been really good and he's responding to the collar just fine, but he's standing in the middle of the road, and we wouldn't want that, obviously.
No, that is definitely not acceptable. And that's one of the main benefits of Halo 3 is that it's just way more accurate now than really any technology. The other thing we do, which is interesting, is we download the location into the collar's memory of all of the satellites in the sky, so that the instant the collar goes outside, when it picks up a satellite, it can be accurate. There's very few GPS products that have to be accurate from when you go inside where the signal is blocked to when you go outside, except for dogs. So the only really good solution is the one I talked about, and we're the only company that has that. And without that, it's going to take a minute or two for the satellite signals that come in by the receiver to know where the satellites are in space. So if they don't know where it is, you can't triangulate.
There's obviously a lot of people that have multiple dogs, just like I do. One of the things I love is, and this is such a little thing, maybe you're probably going to laugh, but I love it, is that the little halo emblem, when you push it, you assign a color to it, and then this is which dog it is. So I think
Yes.
that is kind of cute, actually.
Well, too, at night, it'll blink that color. So if you walk your dog at night, you can actually see them, see which color they are. It's kind of cool. But yes,
Yeah.
I do. I like that too. I use green for the Jets for Reese's, since I'm also a huge Jet fan, which has not been great over the years.
It's pretty amazing how you have this setup where you can really custom fit it to any dog neck. But and I know that there is a certain amount of, I think, is it 12 pounds? Am I correct? Or that's the smallest dog that you can use the Halo 3 on right now?
I would say typically it's 20 pounds
Oh,
or
okay.
an 11-inch neck. I mean, if you look at it, this is mine. The strap you can replace. You can even
Right,
use your
yeah,
own strap. So that's the smallest it can get.
right.
So, but
And
you can use your own strap. The device is the same size for any size collar. It's the strap that you're replacing. And so you can
gotcha.
have a long strap or a small strap and then bend the device for a smaller dog. So I've seen mini Cavapoos wearing it. I mean, it does look big on them, but they don't let them out that much and they want to have a fence. So, until we come out with a smaller version, which is on the horizon, by the way, we are working on, even though we
And
just launched Halo 3, we are working on Halo 4, which should be less than half the size or around half the
okay.
size.
All right. And that was going to be my question. And that's very exciting to hear because my Jack Russell Terrier Heidi is 10 pounds. She's very petite. She's just tiny. And, I think it would be a little much to try to put this on her, but she's definitely one of those dogs that would benefit from having this, because she just loves to go on adventures. And it's always nice to know where and it's not necessarily adventures away from home. It's like adventures. Where is she? Oh, she's under the porch, looking for skunks or something. So it would be nice to know that where she's at.
Well, I love the whistle feature. We didn't really talk about the whistle
Yes,
feature.
let's
because
talk about that.
just a fence. So it's a pretty simple concept, because I was saying, beep means fence, whistle means come back. The whistle feature is as simple as, if you whistle, your dog will come to you. I mean, that's been something people have done for dogs for, again, hundreds of years probably, to get their dog to come. And they instinctually respond to the whistle. So we built into the collars the speaker, where if you hit a button on the app, it can manually send the whistle and your dog running. And it's something I show at the beginning of the app in the video, because when I take my dog Reese's on a walk, I really now have the confidence to have her off leash, because if I hit that whistle, she will come no matter what. I don't care if she sees a deer. If she hears that whistle, it's instinctual now. And if I have to practice it, I do, but I don't, because she knows whistle means come. She comes running back like Lassie. So, and I always know that worst case, I have the tracking on there, but it's my favorite feature.
And I love it too, because there's a lot of people that can't whistle. I'm one of them. So it's kind of nice to have that feature. So, or, whether or not it's a kid or, so it's wonderful. And again, we haven't talked much about the app other than, the training, but obviously the Halo Collar works in conjunction with your Halo Collar app. And there's all kinds of stuff in there. And it's not just using the whistle or, setting the settings, but there's other things, like there's an activity tracker, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a Fitbit for a dog, where you can see, what your dog does and how much exercise he gets. So that's pretty cool. What are some of the other features?
Cesar recommends you get an hour of activity a day minimum. That's really what a dog needs. So you can use the app to, if your kid said they took the dog for a walk, you could see that. I mean, I use it all the time. I'll be at dinner and I'll just be like, what room of the house is Reese's in right now? Because for some reason, the GPS works great inside my house.
I really get the impression that Reese's have been such an integral part of the Halo Collar, like even coming to life or coming to be. And, so tell us a little bit about her.
I mean, I'm just going to show you her. Reese.
Yeah.
Do you see her?
Aww.
She has the collar on. So, yes, she is certainly a Halo dog. She's been using the collar since Halo 1. So she's had a few bugs that she's had to deal with. There she is. But she's been fantastic. We don't use static with her. She gets it. Beep means fence. Whistle means come back. We trained her. You don't leave them unsupervised. And by the way, in the app, it tells you, is your dog trained? We actually can tell because of the technology. Are they stopping after they hear the beep, or is it escalating to vibration? And, you shouldn't really leave them alone until they're fully trained. We used to go to this retail consumer pet show, and across the way from our booth was parrots. And these parrots were bicycling, building houses. I was like, if you could train a parrot to bicycle, your dog is gonna learn beep means fence and whistle means come back.
That's wonderful. I love it. Well, great. Well, of course, we will be sure to share the links to your website in the description below the video, just so people can easily find the product. It is a great product. We use it on our dog Apollo, and again, for us, we have a fenced-in yard, but as dog trainers, I recommend this product even for people that have fenced-in yards. If you have a pet that maybe gets out, there's a lot of times the pool guy leaves the gate open, or the kids forget to latch the gate. And this is certainly something that isn't just for people that don't want a fenced-in yard. And we absolutely love it personally, because we travel a lot with our pets, and we haven't mentioned it, but the Halo collar doesn't just allow you to set up a virtual fence. It allows you to set up to 20 different virtual fences. Is that correct? So, I mean, you could have one at your mother's house and, one at your cabin up north and one at the lake where you like to go camping. There's so many different applications for this wonderful product. I really like it.
People actually do use it to keep their dog off of lakes when they're freezing going into winter, where they're normally allowed in it, and they may not understand the dangers of the, initial layers of ice.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. That is amazing. Very excited to continue using this on our travels, but also looking forward to the new product for smaller dogs. I think that's definitely something that there's going to be a lot of people out there that is going to love to have a lighter, smaller version for their littler dogs.
Definitely. Great. So if you would like to learn more about Halo 3, you can go to our website, halocollar.com, and hear all the answers to the frequently asked questions, really learn everything you need to know about Halo and how it can change you and your dog's life.
That's great. And as we said, the link will be in the description below the video for those who want to find it quickly.
Great.
Perfect. Well, Ken, thank you so much for the interview today. This was a lot of fun talking to you. Really loved the product and really looking forward to seeing what else you guys come up with.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed being here. And, I'm happy to come back in 6 months if you still want to have me for some updates.
That sounds good. Okay.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed today's episode, then I'm sure you'd also love the rest of our interviews. I'm going to go ahead and share that playlist for you. And until next time, keep your paws on the road.